in Dalton. Credit card transactions amounting to thousands.
Rumor surrounding Mayor Tiffany Henyard financial collapse have set the stage for an unfolding scandal, as reports allege that she is attempting to raise 10 million on go funded to sustain her extravagant lifestyle despite not sharing the global fame of figures like Beyoncé or Kim Kardashian. Henyard's situation has captured widespread attention due to the sheer scale of the controversy. At the heart of the uproar is a growing mountain of debt that has become a glaring focal point for both critics and creditors alike, as lawsuits pile up in efforts to reclaim funds. The allegations against Henyard are sparking outrage across Dalton. Her financial troubles reportedly began escalating in March 2024 when revelations emerged that she had embezzled public funds to bankroll a series of lavish personal expenditures, using the city's budget as her personal piggy bank. Henyard allegedly exhibited blatant disregard for fiscal responsibility, financing luxurious pursuits and high-end indulgences at the taxpayers' expense, from first-class flights to extravagant dinners and indulgent shopping spree. Her spending pattern painted the picture of unchecked excess, causing many to feel betrayed. Unlike wealthy celebrities who squandered their private fortunes, Hen's misuse of public funds has left their constituents disillusioned and enraged as the consequences of her decisions ripple through the community. During a tense public meeting, a furious Dolphin resident spoke for many by confronting Henyard directly, exclaiming, "You lied to us as residents and you don't stand for me. I want you to resign as mayor today and save our village from the deficit you've caused, which has left Dalton unable to pay its bills." Such sentiments echo the frustration of a town facing mounting challenges due to HS alleged mismanagement. Local services have deteriorated, bills are going unpaid, and the community's morale has plummeted. To exacerbate matters, residents feel that the mayor has placed her personal financial needs above her duty to serve, using taxpayer dollars recklessly, without any thought of accountability. For many, it's not just her opulent lifestyle that spars resentment, it's the arrogance and apparent indifference toward the very people who trusted her to lead. Dolan residents are grappling with the fallout as financial instability strains the city's operations, affecting basic public services and eroding trust in local governance. Henyard's GoFundMe campaign, rumored to seek a staggering 10 million, has only hidden criticism, with detractors branding it a desperate and tone-deaf attempt to resolve problems of her own making. This financial controversy is a damning reflection of leadership that seems more focused on self-interest than public duty, leaving the town with significant debts and its citizens bearing the brunt of the consequences as the fallout continues. HS actions and decisions raise fundamental questions about integrity and responsibility, both personal and political. The anger and discontent simmering among Dalton residents have given rise to calls for her immediate resignation, with many questioning whether she can still be trusted to govern after such blatant violations. Hannah's alleged actions have not only tarnished your own reputation but also put the financial stability and future of the community in jeopardy. Party critics argue that while mismanagement and scandal have plagued public officials throughout history, Henyard case stands out for its brass and audacity and its direct impact on a small, already struggling community. To her constituents, This scandal is not just a betrayal of trust but a glaring example of the dangers of unchecked power and a reminder of how leadership driven by personal gain can derail the progress and stability of an entire town. Whether Henyard steps down voluntarily or faces is mounting legal pressure, her tenure as mayor has become synonymous with financial misconduct and public outrage. Moving forward, Dalton faces an uphill battle to regain financial stability, repair its fractured trust in leadership, and prevent similar scenarios in the future. Meanwhile, the question: will the scandal finally lead to meaningful reform, or will the shadow of mismanagement continue to cast a dark cloud over the town? For now, Hen's financial downfall and the resulting community turmoil serve as a stark warning about the consequences of neglecting public accountability.
Taxpayers a lot of money with few details about how it benefits the community.
Reports continue to surface regarding Mayor Tiffany Henyard's alleged mismanagement and financial recklessness, painting a troubling picture of a leader accused of prioritizing personal indulgence over her public duties, along with claims of embezzling public funds. Henyard is reported to have taken out substantial personal loans running into millions of dollars and now faces the looming threat of bankruptcy. Despite her mounting debt, she reportedly led a life of luxury. While Dalton, Illinois descended into a financial crisis, the town's woes have escalated to the point where even the police department's vehicles are at risk of repossession due to unpaid bills. Henyard's alleged reckless spending has plunged Dalton into one of its most significant scandals, involving not only the misuse of taxpayer funds but also accusations of questionable dealings in various town projects. One of the most contentious accusations revolves around her handling of Section 8 housing payments, a federal program designed to provide safe and affordable housing for low-income families. Critics claim Henyard continued to collect payments from tenants without using the funds for essential repairs or maintenance. Instead, it is alleged that she diverted these funds to bank her lavish trips to destinations like Las Vegas, further inflaming public outrage. Section 8 housing exists to support some of the most vulnerable members of the community, and allegations that Henyard misses these funds for personal luxury have sparked widespread condemnation. The public feels betrayed, especially as these housing programs were intended to lift families up, not line the pockets of those in power. As Dalton struggled under the weight of unpaid bills and deteriorating public services, the contrast between Henyard's reported luxurious lifestyle and the town's financial collapse only amplified public frustration. Residents describe the town as crumbling, with essential services such as the police force at risk of being gutted by the lack of funds. Henyard's alleged financial decisions have placed these services in jeopardy, leading to growing concerns about the town's ability to recover the looming threat of repossession of police vehicles. Symbolizes the severity of Dalton's financial instability, leaving citizens questioning how such a situation could have been allowed to unfold. Further complicating Henyard's tenure are allegations of shady dealings involving town projects. Critics have painted her administration as one riddled with selfing decisions, a stark contrast to the promises of service and responsibility that originally earned her the mayor's seat. What was once seen as hope for the town now feels like a cautionary tale, with residents who had once believed in her leadership now seeing her as a symbol of broken trust. The controversy surrounding her behavior highlights what can go wrong when power goes unchecked in local governance. Henyard's purported prioritization of personal comfort over Dalton's needs has left the town on shaky ground, with its finances teetering on the brink of collapse as more details of Henyard's financial mismanagement come to light. Calls for accountability have grown louder. The town's financial chaos is a sharp contrast to the ideals behind initiatives like Section 8 housing, which were designed to help people stabilize their lives for the families who depend on these programs. The allegations of misused funds represent far more than a political scandal. They embody a profound failure to meet the most basic standards of service, leaving vulnerable populations unsupported. While Henyard reportedly enjoyed luxurious getaways funded by public money, this failure to provide for the community's most in need members only deepens the sense of betrayal felt by many residents. The rumored collapse of Henyard's financial house of cards extends far beyond her personal troubles. The public fallout has triggered a demand for systemic changes in local government oversight to prevent leaders from exploiting public funds for personal gain. The situation has served as a cautionary tale for other communities, illustrating the importance of maintaining transparency and accountability at all levels of government. In Dalton, residents are left to pick up the pieces, seeking answers and solutions for how their town's leadership allowed things to spiral so far out of control. Even more troubling is the erosion of public trust caused by her's reported actions, creating a leadership vacuum that has left Dalton in uncertainty. At public meetings and gatherings, citizens have expressed not just outrage but deep disappointment. Many have called for Henyard's resignation, demanding new leadership that can guide the town out of its financial crisis. In the wake of the scandal, her behavior has become a rallying cry for activists calling for reforms to prevent such abuses from happening again. These activists argue that stronger checks and balances along with community-focused policies are essential to restoring Dalton's financial health and credibility as the town faces the fallout from Henyard's alleged misdeeds. Residents are left grappling with the consequences of her reported mismanagement, calling for a future rooted in transparency, fiscal responsibility, and a renewed commitment to the community's well-being.
$1,000 at Amazon.
Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor of Dalton has quickly become a case study in mismanagement and betrayal. Once viewed as a promising leader, she now faces serious allegations of corruption, reckless spending, and a flagrant disregard for her responsibilities from the very beginning. Critics argue Henyard appeared more concerned with her personal luxury and public image than with fulfilling her promises to improve the town for its residents. The scandal surrounding her leadership first came to light when reports revealed her misuse of taxpayer funds, which were allegedly used to finance extravagant personal expenses, such as lavish trips to Las Vegas and high-profile events, all while Dalton's essential services were left underfunded and in disarray. Observers have described a disturbing pattern where public funds were treated as Henyard's personal account, spent on non-essential luxuries and experiences that prioritize her comfort over the community's pressing needs. As The financial instability of Dalton grew. More severe residents became increasingly frustrated by the lack of transparency and accountability from their mayor. Many felt abandoned by a leader who seemed more focused on protecting her reputation than addressing the town's dire challenges. The consequences of Henyard's alleged decisions were felt most acutely in the deterioration of public services, with reports of unpaid village judgments and vital resources like police vehicles on the brink of repossession. Investigations revealed a web of financial mismanagement that went beyond the misuse of public funds, with rumors surfacing that Henyard had taken out massive personal loans she was unable to repay, leaving her teetering on the edge of bankruptcy. The allegations deepened further when it was suggested that Henyard had mishandled Section 8 housing payments. It is claimed that she collected payments intended for repairs and maintenance but did not use the funds to fix the units, and instead diverting the money to support her lavish lifestyle. These actions only further eroded public trust in her leadership. Meanwhile, many Dalton residents, particularly those relying on basic services like transportation and heating assistance, found themselves cut off from vital resources due to the town's worsening financial situation, sparking outrage at Henyard's apparent indifference to the hardships she caused. As the town grappled with the fallout from Henyard's alleged neglect of its obligations, the anger and frustration of residents reached a boiling point. Town meetings, social media platforms and public forums became venues for citizens to voice their growing dissatisfaction, calling out Henyard for her failure to address the escalating problems facing the community. One notable resident, during a public meeting, passionately declared, "You lied to us as residents and you don't stand for me. I want you to resign as mayor today and save our village from the deficit you've caused." This sentiment echoed the broader feeling of abandonment among residents who struggled to reconcile Han's promises of leadership with the reality of her actions. Critics argue that Han's alleged financial recklessness, coupled with her attempts to obscure the extent of her mismanagement, not only failed to address Dalton's problems but actively deepened them, making the town's recovery more difficult and leaving its future uncertain. Reports of her refusal to take accountability and her continued defiance, even as a town's financial collapse became clearer, only added to the sense of frustration and betrayal. Despite mounting evidence of corruption and mismanagement, Henyard reportedly continued to project an image of success, sidestepping the urgent issues that directly impacted her constituents. This facade of leadership, however, began to unravel as investigations revealed the full scope of Dalton's financial woes. Claims that money intended for the town's infrastructure and services had been diverted to sustain Hen's extravagant lifestyle only heightened the outrage. The town struggled to provide essential services was compounded by the alleged corruption at the highest levels of leadership, as Hannon's actions were seen as a betrayal of the very principles of public service she was elected to uphold. As the scandal reached a boiling point, residents increasingly demanded transparency and accountability from their mayor. Calls for reform echoed throughout the community, as many felt Henyard's alleged actions represented a stark departure from the core values of public service, undermining not just the town's financial stability but also the trust and confidence of its residents for a town like Dalton where many families depend on municipal support to make ends meet. The consequences of Hannon's alleged decisions have been profound. The town's ability to function effectively has been severely impacted, leaving the community with a long road ahead to rebuild both its finances and its trust in local government. The collapse of Henyard's leadership has left a lasting scar on Dalton, and the demand for answers and systemic reforms continues to grow as the investigation into our actions unfolds. Many residents are left wondering how a leader entrusted with their welfare could so recklessly jeopardize their town's future.
FBI is around the corner so they can come and raid this place because all
Amid a backdrop of mounting turmoil and widespread community discontent, Tiffany Henyard, the embattled mayor of Dalton, carried on as though nothing was amiss, continuing to make critical decisions for the town even as a maelstrom of scandal brewed beneath the surface. Perhaps she believed she could keep everything under wraps, but her facade quickly crumbled when the FBI stepped in, launching an extensive criminal investigation into her financial dealings. This investigation has been anything but superficial, with subpoena issued for everything from Henyard's personal financial transactions to Dalton's entire financial history. Federal agents are peeling back layers of potentially explosive misconduct, and reports of surface indicating that they are now actively interviewing key individuals and unearthing alarming details about Hen's alleged misuse of taxpayer funds. The scope of Hen's alleged spending spree is jaw-dropping. Her indulgences extend far beyond personal vacations to Las Vegas and encompass a long list of luxurious expenditures, including high-end vehicles and even a private security detail, and to that of a Hollywood celebrity. These revelations paint a disturbing picture of an official who seemingly viewed her role as mayor not as a public service, but as a personal piggy bank funded by taxpayers who are now left in a state of betrayal and outrage as these revelations come to light. Hen's public image has taken a severe blow, one that even her deflections and NS can no longer withstand. However, instead of humbly addressing the chaos surrounding her administration, Henyard has doubled down, blaming others for her predicament and continuing to act with the same hubris that led her into the situation. Critics have lambasted her online, with one comment of remarking she put herself into this mess so she can get herself out of it. How dare she ask anyone to assist her? Another detractor added she has over $300,000 in income and can't pay her bills. Now she's pleading for money. It's nothing but a power trip, far from being chastened. Henyard has reportedly turned to ordinary citizens asking for financial support to stave off bankruptcy, even as creditors circle and lawsuits pile up against her. These revelations include accusations that Henyard borrowed extensively from various sources, even using public property as collateral for personal loans, gambling with assets that were never hers to risk. When this misuse of public resources came to light, it was the last straw from many in the community. Dalton's residents, already reeling from years of mismanagement, took these allegations seriously, viewing them not merely as failures of judgment but as outright betrayals of public trust. A growing chorus of voices now questions Hen's ability to continue serving as a leader. One source even described her actions as Lawless accusing her of prioritizing her personal and political interests over the well-being of Dalton's residents. This crisis isn't just about financial mismanagement. It's about the very fabric of a community stretched to its breaking point by a leader who appears unwilling or unable to put the needs of the town above her own. Amid this fallout, Hen's defiance and refusal to accept accountability have only deepened the rift between her administration and the people of Dalton. What might have been a chance for course correction has instead spiraled into a toxic standoff, with Henyard digging in her heels while the town grapples with the aftershocks of her controversial tenure. Her critics have made it clear that they view her actions not only as reckless but as emblematic of deeper systemic failures that now demand urgent reform as lawsuits continue to mount and financial woes worsen. Many are left questioning not just the immediate implications of Henyard actions but their long-term impact on a town struggling to recover. Still, Henyard shows no signs of stepping aside, leaving Dalton residents to shoulder the burden of leadership gone astray for them. The stakes have never been higher. This isn't just about Henyard, it's about the survival and future of a community that feels betrayed, disrespected, and determined to rise above its challenges as if her tenure had already been mired in controversy. Henyard has left residents utterly speechless with her latest move, starting a GoFundMe campaign. Yes, the same leader accused of reckless financial behavior, lavish Amazon shopping sprees, extravagant parties, and allegedly squandering public funds for personal indulgences, is now pleading with the public to donate money, ostensibly to avert an economic catastrophe. Henyard, once elevated to fame and power, now appears desperate, leaving many questioning her motives and mental clarity. With Dalton grappling with financial instability and Henyard seemingly bankrupt, skepticism abounds about whether this is a genuine plea for help or a calculated final attempt to defraud the public before disappearing into obscurity. Some residents suspect that Henyard may be plotting an escape, using the funds raised to disappear to a far-off island far from the repercussions of her alleged crimes. This perception has only been fueled by revelations of her prior misconduct, including nearly $888,000 spent on cosmetics in 2023, alongside an investigation exposing the mayor's alarming pattern of excessive and unchecked spending on non-essentials. The timing of her GoFundMe campaign has led many to believe it is a manipulative ploy, a final attempt to tug at heartstrings and escape consequences, hoping the public will overlook her shady dealings and focus instead on the narrative of her personal financial woes. Critics argue that Henyard is simply out of touch with reality, with one commenter stating it's outrageous for her to ask the people she stole from to help pay off her $10 million debt. She's delusional and way past her time. Others see this campaign as a shameless act of audacity, yet another chapter in what they view as a selfing and disastrous administration. Meanwhile, the fallout from her campaign has only intensified public outrage. Despite everything, Henyard somehow managed to raise $115,000 through a GoFundMe page, a figure that has left many residents baffled and outraged. While some may have offered her sympathy, the overwhelming consensus remains deeply critical of her actions. One user commented, "The fact that she's not yet incarcerated is just as Bad as the crime she committed another. Echoed similar frustrations, highlighting that every cent used for her personal expenses should have gone toward improv. Proving the town this sentiment is compounded by the fact that Dalton continues to reel from the consequences of her leadership with infrastructure left to crumble, essential services underfunded, and residents struggling to rebuild trust in their local government. Henyard, however, remains unapologetically bold, choosing to press on with this public appeal for financial aid despite being at the center of the chaos that caused Dalton's crisis in the first place. The sheer gall of her request has resonated as the ultimate betrayal for a town still grappling with her alleged mismanagement. Some speculate that she may view this as her last opportunity to play the sympathy card, using working-class citizens as pawns to salvage her reputation or escape her debts. Others believe it's yet another layer of manipulation from someone they feel has continually prioritized self-interest over public service. Regardless of her intent, the backlash has been intense and unrelenting. Residents of Dalton refuse to let Henyard off the hook so easily. Memories of public funds, misses on her clothes, makeup and other personal luxuries are still fresh, and the idea of supporting someone they feel has caused their hardships is inconceivable to many. Despite this, Hen's GoFundMe campaign has provided yet another example of her audacity and determination to fight for herself above all else. Her decision to appeal directly to the public she allegedly wronged underscores how far she is willing to go, but it also highlights how detached she appears from the sentiments of those around her as Dalton residents grapple with their ongoing crisis. They're left to wonder whether accountability will ever catch up to their embattled leader, or she will once again escape unscathed. The scandal surrounding her actions has not just tarnished her reputation, it has also become a rallying cry for the community, uniting residents in their collective demand for change and transparency moving forward. While Henyard may hope to continue dodging consequences, the people of Dalton are increasingly determined to hold her accountable, signaling that her days of unchallenged control may soon be over.